I'm concerned about is that UCI has a really strong level 1, and especially with the Cho'Gath, so they could go for some pain. But on the other hand, UT has the area of effect stun on Jax. They have the snowball from Donald if he takes it, as well as the sight from Kiwi Kid. So they're going to be able to thwart any UCI advances. But there goes UCI aggressive off the bat. Let's see if they're going to be able to convert anything.
Oh, and Pangboy spotting the aggression coming out from UCI in the bottom jungle. That's going to give them a lot of flexibility to move into the red buff in the top if they'd like to, and there go the pings. That's going to be what the team is going to be going for. You were saying before that the UCI bottom lane has a very strong level 1. That's going to be increased even further. They've gone for the Ignite and Exhaust available to them as a duo. Meanwhile, Pangboy and Donald only have Exhaust and Cleanse. They're going to be a little bit more slippery. A little bit harder to grab, but they're not going to be able to dish out nearly as much damage.
And that's not really surprising, seeing the Ignite on Graves. Graves is typically a much more aggressive AD carry, and Donald will be able to get the attack speed slow onto Graves, but when Graves gets the quick draw down, he's going to be able to trade better against Pangboy just because of the stun into the armor shred. Graves is going to be able to potentially quick draw in buckshot, get a lot of pain down, maybe not even have to quick draw and just use the buckshot and then quick draw to disengage as soon as Donald goes in with the snowball. The scary thing about Cog Nunu, which we've seen a lot, it's a tried and true combination, is that once it hits mid game, that's when the pain starts, because Nunu's going to be blood boiling Kog'Maw almost infinitely. He gets the slow, he's going to be able to get the slows down, and that's where Kog'Maw starts working his way back into the lane and winning trades. In the meantime, Donald's probably going to play really defensively and just try to push Vtine off of the fight. If Vtine and Redrun can get on top of that bottom lane early, they're gonna, it's the same story with Kog'Maw. You always want to get on top of Kog'Maw early, but we'll have to see what Jungle Pony has something to say about that.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting, especially since he is grabbing that red buff out of the enemy jungle. And something that a lot of newer players don't really pay too much attention to, the direction that the mid players come in from that level 1 kind of is indicative of where the enemy jungler started. So both players coming in exactly where they were. They didn't try to fake it up at all. Master of Law is aware that the red buff was taken out of his jungle. He's going to go immediately to UT's jungle and try to go for their red instead.
And it looks like Master of Law, yeah, he wants to be aggressive, and they have an aggressive ward as well, so he's going to know if Kiwi Kid is going to come down to try and punish him for this red. But yeah, he's going in, he's going to make sure that the jungle Hecarim is not able to get ahead. That's what Entheomancer actually said. He said, I'm kind of scared of, once again, getting counter jungle, because if I get behind and I'm not able to get myself going, I can't really do anything. Hecarim's kind of useless until he gets a couple of kills under his belt, but Master of Law camping that bottom brush. He's reprising his role as the spoiler for Pangboy's Kog'Maw. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, they're going to go for it right now. A great early flash and a beautiful attempt at kind of dodging the Feral Scream. Still got silence, but it didn't matter. They were able to stay away from it. No tower connection from his stun going to be coming down quite yet, but that's the aggression. That's the mental advantage that the bottom lane for UCI is going to have for a little while here, unless Entheomancer can kind of do something about it.
And also what they did was they forced the flash out of Pangboy, and Pangboy doesn't have an escape beyond that. He's got a slow. That's pretty much it. Beyond that, he can't jump away from a rupture like an Aurelia could. He can't tumble out, and there goes Master of Law. This could be first blood. Kiwi Kid getting taken out by Little Kevin. First blood on UCI's Katarina. Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's not going to be a great start for University of Texas. A little bit of extra gold for UC Irvine, but that's also a lot of mental advantage for them. Half of the health of Pangboy being taken out in that one burst. He does not have the flash available to him, so it's kind of a trigger for UCI that says, okay, you can be a lot more aggressive, because they can't follow any aggression of theirs up with any sort of kill potential. And if you get into a tricky situation, you can just kind of run away from it.
There's not really any response that Pangboy and Donald can do except try to farm as well as they can under their tower. We see Redrun roaming to the mid lane. He's probably going to try and ward out, or he's going to go for something really crazy. Now he's just going to go for the ward to make sure that Kiwi Kid is not going to be able to come down from the mid lane and help out. And Master of Law is there again. Here comes Entheomancer, so we could see a gank and a counter gank.
Yeah, the gank attempt is going to be happening in the top lane. This is where the power of that pony is really coming in. Feral Scream going to go down, but the Ignite goes onto Pawn Gypsy. He's going to force him out of the fight, but he does stay alive long enough to be able to jump back around. A stun underneath the turret. It's going to be a kill again in favor of UCI. They're going to be able to follow it up with an additional silence going on to Entheomancer, but he's still able to gallop away from that fight.
And that was a brilliant set brilliant re-engage by Pawn Gypsy.
Yep.
He was so low, so he knew that his equilibrium strike was going to stun, and he just caught Marvin the Dang under the turret. He took one too many turret hits, and that ended up killing him.
Yeah, and Marvin the Dang doesn't really have, or didn't really need to use any of his potions at that point. If he had, he might have stayed alive a little bit longer. That could have been a complete reversal. It's something that I personally forget a lot of times. When I have a potion in my inventory, I need to always remember to use it in those fights, because that extra little bit of health can make the difference between living and dying.
And there's the burst coming out from Little Kevin, forcing Kiwi Kid out of the fight. And Theomancer is there, but he can't really do much. He's gonna have to get back into these farming situations to just get his items back. But there's Little Kevin jumping on Kiwi Kid, and Kiwi Kid is out of position, he's out of mana, and he's in trouble. If he's able to land this Rupture, Kevin is there. One more Shunpo could potentially do it. There it is. Master of All actually taking the kill out from Lil Kevin's nose, and Theomancer trying to take him out. Yes, he's going to get a 1-for-1. So Jungler takes out mid lane on both sides.
Yeah, nice reversal there for Theomancer. He's going to be able to keep it a little bit even. Down by 2 kills at the moment. University of Texas sitting at 7.2k gold compared to UCI's 8.2. So 1,000 gold advantage 6.5 minutes into the game. Very comfortable position for UCI, but the thing is that once Theomancer hits level 6, that's all going to start to change.
It's going to be a completely different game, because Theomancer is going to be able to gank from a lot of different angles, but Pawn Gypsy is putting the pain down on Marvin the Dang. He grabbed an early Doran shield as well as some cloth armor, so he wants to be able to take damage and trade. Aurelia has so much built-in damage, and that's starting to pay off for Pawn Gypsy in this early game. But I want to talk a little bit more about this mid lane matchup as Redoran and Vitan continue to put their vice grip on this Kog'Maw. Vitan really hasn't run away with this lane yet, but he's starting to work his way through. Pangboy's doing a great job of trying to stall this one out, but Master Law is there. We could see a dive.
And the dive is going to start here. A ton of stun chain onto Pangboy. He's going to be brought down, and that's going to be a kill going for Vitan. Exactly what the bottom lane duo for UCI is looking for. One single clap in the crowd. That person's probably going to get beaten up later.
They probably will, Torch, but that doesn't change the fact that Vitan was able to take Pangboy out, and UCI, as a result, have started to build up their lead a little bit over 1,000 gold. And looking at the mid lane, Katarina having the kill and the assist, Lil Kevin is going to be able to put some serious pain down onto Kiwi Kid, and Kiwi Kid's going to be forced to drop his shield, but with the amount of burst that Lil Kevin's going to be able to get once he gets that Cage's Lucky Pick, or once he gets, depending upon what build he goes, that shield is going to be severely negated, and Kiwi Kid's going to get behind in a hurry.
It's a little bit interesting here. If we take a look at the items that Master of LoL has, some of his teammates are saying he's Master of LoL Beast or Buyer. He's got 2 Heart of Golds, which are not going to be helping him in this gank that's going to be happening in the top lane. Pawn Gypsy getting chased back to the turret, but the last time this happened, it went for a kill in his favor. Is the Ignite going to be able to take down a Theomancer? No, it is not, but Jax is going to be able to finish off Aurelia, bringing it back a little bit into UT's favor.
And Master of LoL potentially not reading the patch notes that Heart of Golds. Unfortunately, the gold generation, it doesn't stack.
No, but he's got a little bit of extra health. He's got a very big heart. You got to fill it up with 2 Heart of Gold.
That's true. You need 2 hearts of gold. That 400 extra health will help him. Gotta give him a little bit of sass. So Redoran giving him some sass on all chat. But Master of LoL, he's a great player. I'm sure he'll be able to bounce back from this, no problem. But that's a decent chunk of change down the drain.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate, but he can turn it into a Randuin's Omen a little bit earlier and still have that passive gold generation with the other Heart of Gold. Maybe he's got a plan for it. We're gonna have to see. I'm gonna put my faith in him.
Lock into the Iron Solari, maybe?
Maybe. You never know.
Yeah, we could very well see that. Kiwi Kid grabbing those rates. And yeah, unfortunately for Pawn Gypsy, I want to talk about that gank a little bit. That's a perfect example of an Aurelia getting greedy. Pawn Gypsy thought that he would be able to get the dash, get the reset, and potentially do one of those crazy Aurelia escapes that you see on YouTube. But unfortunately for him, he was just out of range, and Marvin the Dang made him pay for it.
And this isn't YouTube, this is Twitch TV, where you're going to be able to see all this action live, available to you anywhere, any time of the day, anywhere in the world. And just amazing action going to be continuing from these college kids. Vitan doing an amazing job of keeping the pressure onto this bottom lane, but now that Hecarim has hit level 7, well, a little past level 6, he's going to be doing a great job of putting the pressure on. Meanwhile, in the top lane, though, Marvin's going to get ganked. It's not going to be enough to turn into anything, but once again, using that flash really early It's what he needed to do, but that's exactly what Master of Law was trying to make him do at the same time.
But the big difference between Pangboy and Marvin the Dang is Marvin the Dang has that built-in escape. He can leap strike to pretty much anything or anyone. So
assuming he's not silenced.
Assuming he's not silenced or knocked up into the air, which Master of Law really wants to do because he is camping this lane. There goes the counter strike. Here comes the gank.
Oh, and a beautiful leap strike to Master of Law, just kind of turning it around on him. Feral Scream just barely missing as well, and that's going to force Master of Law out of lane. He realized it wasn't quite worth it. He's going to have to back up and cut his losses.
Unfortunately for Master of Law, he hasn't as much success on this Jax. Jax is just so difficult to gank. He is one of those great escape.
Oh, and here comes the Antheomancer. He's charging up with that horse, going to go straight for V-Time, but back off a little bit, keeping Redoran into the fight a little bit longer, and there's the absolute zero. That's going to be a little bit cold. This is Texas, but you're going to go home anyway.
V-Time being able to get out of there, but that was a great chained lockup with the Dread going into the ultra slow from the Nunu. The full channel just completely obliterated Redoran. He didn't even have a chance. V-Time able to get out and save himself, but this could potentially be trouble for Master of Law. No, it looks like they're just gonna back off. They don't really want to fight this one at this point, but I want to talk about the mid lane for a little bit because Kiwi Kid's starting to pull ahead a little bit. They are even on gold, but 100 minion kills to 80 is a testament. Oh, wow, look at that pain coming out from Pangboy. But that's just a testament of how well Orianna can farm. And Katarina's no slouch herself, but once she starts wanting to roam, Orianna's going to be able to get ahead in those items and potentially win a couple of those duels and punish Kat if she's not able to convert. So that's a lot of pressure on little Kevin to turn something around.
Yeah, the pressure is going to continue to mount further and further if Katarina is not able to turn these into any sort of kills. As soon as that Athene's Unholy Grail is finished, it's going to change things a lot, but Marvin just continually getting pressured by Master of Law in the top lane. He's under his turret. He is going to be staying alive just barely. Beautiful dodging going around, the run around onto Master of Law, and Pawn Gypsy just deciding not to help him out whatsoever.
And this is just the unkillable Jax. Marvin the Dang is baiting Master of Law and Pawn Gypsy so much, and he's getting extremely low, but he's not dying. And Kiwi Kid has just rotated top to try and turn this one around, resetting the lane. Will Kevin is able to push the lane, and he may go for a roam, but at the end of the day, Master of Law is losing time, he's losing experience, and he's losing gold on these failed ganks.
And we saw that Donald was going in there to try to clear up a little bit of the vision that UCI had around the Dragon. It's getting to that point where Dragon's going to be a potential 12.5 minutes into the game. Only 800 gold available as an advantage for UCI. So University of Texas over the past couple of minutes doing a great job of keeping all their lanes safe, but then also kind of pushing every little advantage they can. That's how they got back into the first game. That's how they took the lead eventually, and that's what they're going to try to do here again.
They definitely will, and that's what it's going to come down to. But unfortunately for them, V-Time is starting to win that lane. He's doing what Graves does, which is just bully Pangboy out. And right now, that Cog Nunu synergy hasn't hit its stride, and V-Time is starting to pull ahead a little bit by 10 minion kills. He's got the kill as well. Taking a look at the gold really quick, 3,632. So nothing severely substantial, but if V-Time's got to turn a killer on, because otherwise Pangboy is going to hit that mid-game stride and just start farming with that blood boil.
That farm is going to be very important, but also the vision and the intelligence available to both teams is going to be that much more important as both teams are starting to get ready to be able to take a dragon very quickly. And Theomancer's got his oracles. He's able to try and kind of graze around the map, taking out the enemy wards. But the thing is, Cho'Gath is doing something similar on the other side.
And looking at the mid lane as well, once again, an interesting item choice for Katarina. Katarina was previously one of those champions that was Gunblade or go home. And with the rework, a lot of people have stated that Katarina, go for the Deathfire Graph, or go for the Abyssal Scepter, or go for the Death Cap. Go straight damage. Don't go for the super sustain, get the reset. Little Kevin's going for an old school build because he's got the Bilgewater Cutlass, and that is going to be a Gunblade in a hurry.
And a lot of investment from the resources of UCI, putting it like they're trying to go for Dragon, but there is still a ward available for University of Texas. They kind of said what was going on, and now they're moving in as a full team to this mid. It's a 3v2 situation at the moment. A lot of hurt going on to Marvin, but Kiwi Kid able to keep that shield on him, be a good captain, and say, hey, you're going to get out, and I'm going to keep you safe.
But UCI was able to bait out a Shockwave and a Flash from Marvin the Dang. So now Kiwi Kid doesn't have those resources for the Dragon, and UCI responds immediately by going, and this could very easily be an uncontested Dragon, first Dragon of this game 3.
Yeah, University of Texas is going to have a lot of pressure on them to kind of do something about it. They brought the gold lead for University of California down to only about 300 or 400, but with that Dragon pickup, it's going to change to about a 1.3K gold. 14 minutes into this game, that's not that much, which we keep saying. These two teams are so incredibly close. A rematch of the finals of last season. Not a whole lot has changed as far as their relative skill level, but so much has changed overall as far as the actual level compared to the rest of the players of League of Legends.
But in that last fight, we saw the power of the Katarina, especially on this patch, where she can generate so much threat that people say, all right, I don't even want to be anywhere near her, because if she gets a kill or if she gets an assist, that's a reset. She's going to get the Shunpo, she's going to be able to get the bouncing blade back, and eventually she's going to be able to get the ultimate if she can clean up 2 or 3 more kills. That's why Katarina is always on pentakill watch, because if she can time it correctly, she can bounce around the fight and drop absolutely everyone herself.
So as we settle into this mid game a little bit, the first objective has been taken out in favor of UCI, but that also means that there's not a whole lot for University of Texas to need to defend right now. They can start going for a little bit of aggressive ganking, which we see here happening right now. The Orianna ball being grabbed onto Theomancer and is going to pull Master of Law back. Not able to pick up the kill, but that's going to force him out of any sort of potential to counter gank anytime soon, allowing Theomancer to be a little bit aggressive in the enemy jungle, see what he can take away from UCI.
Yeah, and Theomancer and Kiwi Kid forcing, they actually traded the Shockwave for the flash. There's the Shatter going out, V-Time getting a lot of pain down on a Pangboy. Pangboy being forced to chug down a potion, and that turret in the bottom lane is about little less than half health, and V-Time and Redron are absolutely pounding on it. And this first turret could very well decide who is going to crack this mid-game open, because mid lane, we got 3 members of UT that are trying to do the same thing.
Definitely trying to do the same thing. They've got a lot of damage that's going to go on, but Master of Law coming out there, not quite able to hit his Rupture once again. UT is doing an amazing job of kind of dodging the ground Earthquake. Not a whole lot of experience against that here in Texas, but it doesn't matter as they almost take down this middle turret.
And there's the ultimate going in onto Kiwi Kid, the Ignite as well, but Kiwi Kid's going to be able to walk out of there, so that is a burned Ignite for Lil Kevin, which takes away a lot of his assassination potential, especially with the Bilgewater Cutlass, which isn't going to give him as much straight up burst. It gives him attack damage and lifesteal. So, unfortunately for Kevin, not going for that potential early Death Cap or Death Fire Grasp is going to prevent him from going for kill, reset. He's got to go for a little more team-dependent team play.
But the team dependency is working out for UCI as they catch Marvin off 2v1 behind his what used to be a defensive turret. That's going to allow them to continue to push up on this top lane. Really, UT needs to do something about that. If they can trade it for a mid turret, that's actually in their benefit, because it gives them a little bit more ground control for both the top and the bottom jungle. But if they lose a tier 2 turret, that's going to be completely different. We see Theomancer coming in here. If he's able to pick off, yes, he is able to pick off Katarina. That's going to bring it, so not much of a lead for UCI, but they really need to do something about this top lane.
It looks like they're not going to be able to do much, and Theomancer is rolling in, but he doesn't have his ultimate anymore, so that's going to be top tower 2 now for UCI, and they're continuing to extend their lead. So despite Little Kevin getting caught out, that opened up Master of Law and Pawn Gypsy to take out that top turret. Yeah,
and there we saw that the escape, the Shunpo, was not quite available to Little Kevin. He was saying that he wants escapable champions in the mid lane that are really bursty. He got the bursty. He's got a little bit of escape, but not quite enough going up against Theomancer's Hecarim. And now we see him starting to run around the map, trying to go for Master of Law, but this guy is way too tanky to take out immediately. They're going to finish it off, but at the cost of a lot of health on Theomancer. However, Kiwi Kid is able to come up here and stop this. They're able to take down Pawn Gypsy without any sort of death going on. A great job for them in the top lane, getting those 2 kills. Oh, and Graves following it up with wow. Kog'Maw following it up with a kill onto Graves. We're actually going to check out a replay of how that went down, because it's really important to see for what was happening.
So if we take a look in this bottom lane, V-Time and Redrun, we said it before, we'll say it again, they want to be aggressive, but here come Pangboy and Donald. This is the mid game we were talking about. There's the slow, there's the pain, the exhaust going down to try and mitigate it, and V-Time's gonna go for the trade, but here comes the passive. He quick draws out, it will not be enough, so that is gonna be a 1-for-1 trade. Redrun tries to go back in, but then he realizes that he just has a hammer.
And a hammer against a already dead explosive thing is not gonna be enough. That's gonna be
a Ferocious Yeti, that's always gonna be
terrifying. Or Ferocious Yeti, well, a guy riding a Ferocious Yeti. A little friendly.
You never know. That could be an epic support one-on-one, but unfortunately we weren't able to see it. Redron decided that, I think I'm just gonna back off. So Pangboy making sure that he makes V-Time drop eventually, but V-Time off of the aggression, was able to turn a kill, and he almost got away at that point. That was a great quick draw, and it was just off of the back edge of the Kog'Maw passive that Pangboy was able to take him out. So taking a look at the late game AD carry, we have him at almost 5,400 gold to Vitine's 5,700. So they are neck and neck once again, and that is factoring really well into Pangboy. And then Theomancer going in, there's the Dread.
There's the Dread that's going to follow it up with a pin against the wall, but we see it turning into a 3v3 as they get combined with Master of Law, the duo in the bottom lane combined with jungle for both team. It looks like it's just going to be a complete reset as Master of Law is just a beefy tank they can't do anything about. However, in the mid lane, it is Kiwi Kid versus Little Kevin in a one-on-one situation that we see constantly. He isn't going to be able to shield himself and get away as Jax comes in to support him as well.
And Little Kevin sees the Jax and he immediately runs back. But the great thing about this build, he just finished his Gunblade, is that he's going to be able to heal back, sustain a lot of that damage, and then go back into the fight, and it looks like he might be looking to roam bottom lane.
Yeah, and this is going to be a fight re-engagement going on right now. The turret in the bottom lane is not really anything to be defended by. They're not even able to get close to it, but it doesn't matter as the rest of the team is coming down. If Jax can kind of get behind Katarina, they could take her down pretty quickly, but they need to kind of group up immediately. The Dragon is available. If they don't turn this into a kill, that's going to be another Dragon going to UCI, and that could be a very early lead, very large mid-game lead going for UCI.
And that's what they needed to do on Jax. Jax is that escape artist that if you don't kill him right away, he's kind of like Vayne. He's extremely slippery. He can pop the stun and then leap strike out. UCI picking up another Dragon and continuing to extend this lead out. But in that bottom lane gank, nom nom nom, Master of Law had Yeti for dinner. They just obliterated Donald on the back of Vitine's full burst. That QR combo on Graves is devastating. And
no indigestion from that balanced diet there. He's going to be able to continue to push on to the bottom turret. Only 1 or 2 hits left there for him. Once they take that down, they're going to have about a 5K or 4K gold. Can't do math right now. That's for one of these college kids to do for me.
So math majors.
About a 4,000 gold lead in favor of UCI at 22 minutes into the game. 3K. After they take the turret.
We've got people behind us actually posting up in.
It's 3K right now, but after they take the turret, it'll be 4K.
It's the life of a League of Legends caster. So, taking a look at UCI, they do have this lead, and they're going to look to extend it. And
there we go.
At a point, they got a turret as well, and that is the extension that we were talking about. Torch, at this point, UCI has been in a winning position before. They might be getting caught out here. This could be trouble. Oh man, Pangboy obliterates Vitine, and this definitely is trouble. Master Law trying to turn this around, but now this is a 4v2 situation, and Master Law is going to almost certainly lose some stacks. That's a double kill for Pangboy. That's not the person you want a double kill on, and Redoran is going to back off right away. So UCI, once again, the one real issue that their team has had this entire season when going up against specific squads, even against squads that they had a really strong chance against beating, as Lil Kevin takes down another turret, is that they get over aggressive, they tunnel vision a little bit, and if the team is good enough, they pay for it. And UTI was good enough to make them pay. And now Pangboy and Donald are turning the tables and taking down this turret, making sure that this gold lead does not get out of hand. That's a 3-2-1 Kog'Maw with Phantom Dancer. Just wait till he gets his Infinity Edge.
Yeah, they definitely made it so that the gold lead did not get out of hand. With those kills in that turret, it's bringing it down to only a 2,000 gold lead for UCI, something they can come back from very, very easily. 4 minutes left before the next Dragon comes up, so a little bit of time before anything needs to happen. We're going to see both teams kind of reset a little bit, try to set up their lanes, and get into a position that they then want to move from there.
And UT, like you said, they're resetting all of these lanes. If you look at the way the lanes are pushing, Marvin the Dang shoving that top lane back to that middle river reset spot. Vitine pushing his lane out to try and counteract a little bit of that. And Redoran just picked up an Oracle's Elixir as well, so this is now going to be the duel of the map control. If they can figure out where each other, whoever can figure out where the other main damage sources are, they're going to be able to choose their engages a lot better. And the Theomancer has an Oracle on that pony as well, so it's going to come down to who can choose the engage better, who can catch the team out, and UT Austin showed that they are just as capable as UCI of doing that.
Absolutely true, and when it does get into these 5v5 sieging team fights, it's going to be very interesting to see. Now that Orianna has finished her death cap, she's going to be doing a ton of damage. But not only damage, she's going to have that potential to put a shield on anyone on their team that needs to. Also with Donald's blood boil as well, they're going to be able to keep either Pangboy or Kiwi Kid whoever's getting focused as far away from the fight as possible. Meanwhile, when it starts, they're going to be trying to do a lot of damage on Marvin. That's going to force a disengage, but no, Donald gets caught a little bit, forcing the re-engage to be happening, and Theomancer going in there, but he doesn't see a target that he really wants to go for. They're going to all back away with a flash coming out from Donald.
Yeah, the great force flash from UCI, making Donald realize that if he did not get out of there in a hurry, he was going to die either by Cho'Gath or by Katarina, although Katarina's ultimate was down, so she would have had to do it the old-fashioned way, but she did pick up something we didn't mention is that Lil Kevin now has the makings of what's going to be a Zhonya's Hourglass. So we're going to see some potential Zhonya's baits coming out, and that is such a powerful item on Katarina. This is a very old school pre-rework Katarina build, but that doesn't make it any less devastating.
Absolutely true. It's going to be very important for UT to kind of focus on that main target of Little Kevin right in the beginning of the fight, minimize the amount of magic damage that's coming out from her, and then also just make sure that Pangboy gets in, does the damage, but also gets out again.
And a lot of pings going down onto UCI. They know that UT Austin is looping around, potentially going for this Baron, and Vitine is slightly out of position. UT Austin saw him, so they know that he's going to be coming up to rejoin the team. This could very well be a fairly bloody engage, and Theomancer does have all the ults are up. Here we go, Marvin the Dang pops his ultimate, and then Pongypsy takes it as a point to go all the way in. There's the fear, there's the shockwave, and Kiwi Kid getting jumped on by Little Kevin. Let's see if Little Kevin will take him out. That's a double kill. Pangboy may make it a triple. Let's see if he can. He's trying to kite as best as he can. That is another kill. Pongypsy actually getting a shutdown. This could be a double kill for Pongypsy. One more hit's gonna do it. Will he be able to get it? Kill the Yeti? No, the Yeti survives, but
the horse does not. He's going to go down. That is a 1 for 4. It looked like a decent engagement for UT, but Marvin went in a little bit before the rest of his team. That was the difference between winning that fight and losing it. Very disappointing for UT. That's going to allow UCI to kind of go for Baron, maybe. They're not that high of level. It's only 26.5 minutes into the game, and all of them are very low on health. It's going to be very difficult for them to juggle this, and it could be actually a death for them.
Unfortunately for UT Austin, when Vitine sent and Theomancer to the glue factory, he also took out the smite. So Master of Law, they're going to be able to take this Baron uncontested. Like you said, they're all extremely low, but they are juggling this like pros. And Master of Law, nom nom nom, Baron #1 for this game 3. But Marvin the Dang is making sure, trying to see they don't get unpunished for it. Ignite going down on a Pongypsy. Pongypsy's going to be able to get out on a fantastic disengage, but the ultimate is there, and Marvin the Dang is jacked, so he says, let's go for this. Unfortunately, there isn't enough follow-up damage, and that is still a 4v2 despite all of them being extremely low. So well played by UCI. That's 4 members with the Baron buff. They're going to be able to go back, they're going to be able to buy, and they're going to potentially push down an inhibitor. Yeah,
that's a huge lead that they were able to get. Up until this point, they were only slightly ahead for the gold lead. They weren't really that far ahead for just general area control, but now that they've taken that Baron, taken that extra team fight in their advantage, they're up by about 5,000 gold at the moment, and it's just going to allow them to push down the next objective. However, on the other hand, UT was able to realize that all of UCI had to go back, and they were able to take the dragon to minimize that damage just a little bit.
That's absolutely true. And Pangboy making sure that the buffs stay under the UT's control, as many of them as they can. He has the red buff. A Kog'Maw with a red buff is a scary, scary thing, because not only is he dealing massive damage, but he doesn't need his E to be able to chase someone down. He has the Phantom Dancer, which is going to help a lot. He hasn't built into his Infinity Edge. I should correct it. He just built into his Infinity Edge. So now Kog'Maw is that late game terror. He's got the Eye Edge, he's got the Phantom Dancer, and he's going to be four-shotting people. So you should definitely be watching for Pangboy, how much damage he's going to do, and if UCI is going to go for the execute. And since they have Little Kevin and Master of Law, that's a lot of damage, a lot of burst, and a lot of execute potential, especially with that true damage consumed. Expect a potential aggressive flash from Master of Law to either push Pangboy out of this fight or just kill him outright.
UCI has about 2 minutes on their Baron buff at the moment. They want to turn this into some sort of objective control. They're looking to push down the middle lane, but the issue for them is that both other lanes, the top and the bottom of the minions, are actually pushing up. So it's going to give UT a little bit of breathing room. They can just kind of put the brakes on UCI a little bit, and if they can do it for long enough, it's going to reset things. And once that reset happens, it's going to allow UT to re-engage in a position that's a little bit more to their advantage. They're not that far behind, so they can easily win these team fights.
And UT has a lot of great clear. Kiwi Kid on Orianna is able to just shove his ball through the wave, and Theomancer is going to sit in there, drop his W, and just swing away with his cleave. So UCI is going to have to put the pressure on early before the wave is completely decimated. There's the W, so they're just going to be clearing this out. The stun goes down, but there's no follow-up. Some buckshot goes out, but no members of UT are extremely hurt to the point where Lil Kevin feels comfortable enough to dive in for the engage, and that's what they want. They want Master Level land a Rupture. They want, and there's a Rupture onto Oriana, but unfortunately, the minions are pushing them back, and they don't want to go for a full-on dive under the turret. Regiron wants to get a stun, or Pongypsy wants to just dive straight in, but they can't really do that if UT keeps clearing the way they are.
Only a minute left of this Baron buff. UCI is going to need to do something quickly, otherwise this is going to be a huge emotional victory for UT. If they don't lose even a single champion to this entire cycle of Baron buff, it will be very, very good for them. It's going to allow them to continue to push out later on, and it's just awesome.
This is such impressive turtling by UT, just despite the fact that UCI has increased health regen, they have increased health mana regen, they have more damage, they have more ability power. This could, however, be the engage that we're looking for, but every time they go in, Theomancer is there, and UCI just has to disengage. They're fearing the pony, man, I gotta say.
And they really should. They probably don't have a whole lot of experience against him. Most pros don't play him in this current patch. This is the Kha'Zix patch for anyone that might be tuning in. But a lot of potential out there for engagement and disengagement from the UT team. They've got a really strong front line, and like we were talking about before, if they can keep it in good position, keep Pangboy doing damage without taking it, this could go very much in their favor. But no, and Theomancer's gonna get caught. That's a lot of damage going out. That's the pick-off UCI was looking for. They lost the Baron buff, but it doesn't matter. It's a 5v4 situation without having to use pretty much any ultimates available to them.
Oh no, poor Theomancer just getting caught out of position. UCI was actually looking to rotate bottom lane to take down that bottom turret, but Theomancer looped around and face checked the wrong bush. But Marvin the Dang is going in, trying to turn this one around. The turret is down. This is a huge fight. Donald trying to lock as many people up as he can, but Pongypsy is full health, and Master Lul, there he is on top of Pangboy. Master Lul getting exhausted, so they're just gonna try and disengage, but Pangboy is extremely low, and UCI, meanwhile, is just pounding on this turret. And Marvin the Dang, though, is extremely low, and Pongypsy is going to finally take him out. So that is a dead Jax, a dead Pony, and a dead Inhibitor.
Very unfortunate for them. It looked like it was going to go extremely well. They were able to burn the entire Baron buff without losing any deaths whatsoever. But unfortunately, like you were saying, they kind of got caught in the jungle. They did not move as a cohesive 5-man unit, and that's what kind of lost them that entire lane.
It really did, and this is UCI just doing what they do best, which is putting the pedal to the metal and taking objectives. They know they have the inhibitor, so that's going to be natural pressure because the lane is already pushed, and it's just going to get even more pushed with those super minions coming down the mid lane. And especially because Baron is not up yet, they want to get pressure on the bottom lane. They were able to take a turret down. Now at this point, they know they're ahead. They've got a 7,000 gold lead. They're going to go back, buy a bunch of major items, and set up for another fight. And boy, do they want to fight.
That is true, and we see that Katarina's just picked up almost the ingredients for Rabadon's Death Cap. Once she finishes that off, she's going to be very, very scary, especially with that Zhonya's Hourglass. Just able to jump in the middle of the fight, do a lot of damage, freeze for a moment to allow the rest of her team to catch up, and then be able to get out behind their very beefy front line from Master of LOL.
And something we didn't mention is that these small mistakes, like an Theomancer getting caught a little bit out of position, at games at this level, that's all it takes. And for a team as good as UCI, that's all they needed. They were looking for the opening, they were baiting it out. Marvin the Dang jumps on a Pongypsy, the Dread going out as well, but Pongypsy is gonna just try and run back to his team. UT dropped as much as they possibly could, but it just wasn't enough, and Pongypsy turns around on Marvin the Dang, and UCI is actually gonna destroy Marvin the Dang. That's actually a double kill for Little Kevin, a triple kill. Wow, look at that. The reset on Katarina allows Little Kevin to just fly around and do what he does best, which is murder enemy champions.
Yeah, he's murdering enemy champions indeed. They're going to be pushing up here, eliminating these minions like they are ants, and they're going to push on to try to take down the final Nexus turrets. If they're able to take down both of these, it's going to leave it very vulnerable. 5-man against 2-man in favor of UCI, 20 seconds before there's any reinforcements coming available to them. Super minions in the wave. This is the first turret going down. Second's going to follow immediately after, and it looks like there's not much that University of Texas can do to do anything about this.
It looks like this is going to be the final push, and one more chunk on the Kiwi Kid to add insult to injury. Kiwi Kid goes down, and Zot, UCI is going to be